The night had been one of revelations and disguised truths. It was supposed to be an evening of reconciliation with my wife, Clara, after weeks of tension and unspoken accusations. Instead, I found myself wrapped in the arms of her twin sister, Eliza. The shock of realization hit me like a thunderbolt the next morning when the subtle differences became glaringly obvious in the light of day. "I can't believe you didn't notice it was me," Eliza taunted, her smirk cutting deeper than any knife. The resemblance between them was uncanny, but it was the minute details. The mole on Clara's right cheek, absent on Eliza's, the slightly different pitch in their laughter, that I had overlooked in the dim light and emotional turmoil. "How could you?" I demanded, my voice a mixture of betrayal and disbelief. Eliza's smirk widened. "Oh, come on. We just wanted to see if you'd fall for it. It was just a harmless game." Her nonchalance fueled my growing anger. A harmless game, she called it, but the seeds of deception planted by them were anything but. It wasn't just about last night. This was about every whispered lie, every secret meeting I'd suspected but hadn't confirmed, every moment I felt like I was losing my mind. "I trusted you both," I said, my voice cracking with emotion. The hurt was palpable, but beneath it, a cold, calculating anger began to take root. They had tried to make a fool out of me, but they had underestimated me. As I stood there, facing the woman who wore my wife's face but held none of her warmth, I made a silent vow. They wanted to play games? Well, I was about to change the rules. I would gather all the evidence of their deceit, their betrayals, not just against me but anyone they had wronged. They thought they could manipulate me, play me for a fool, but they had no idea who they were dealing with. "I'm going to make you regret this," I whispered, more to myself than to Eliza. Her laughter echoed in the room, dismissive and confident. "Good luck with that. You'll need it." But I didn't need luck. I needed evidence, and I would get it. I would use their own games against them. Take my revenge not just for me, but for everyone they'd wronged. They had unleashed a storm they were wholly unprepared for, and I was the eye of that storm, calm, calculated, and utterly relentless. The game had begun, and I was ready to play. My first move was to seek allies, and I knew just where to start. Max, Clara's former best friend, had been estranged from her under mysterious circumstances. If anyone had dirt on Clara and Eliza, it would be Max. I found him at his usual haunt, a dimly lit bar downtown, nursing a whiskey. "Max," I began, sliding into the seat across from him, "I need your help." He looked up, his eyes narrowing in recognition, then suspicion. "Why would I help you? You're Clara's wife, right?" I nodded, my resolve hardening. Was her wife. "And I think we have a common enemy." The mention of a common enemy piqued his interest. "Go on," he said, leaning back, his posture signaling that he was listening. "Clara and Eliza played me for a fool, but I'm not here for sympathy. I'm here to gather evidence and expose them for who they truly are, and I think you might want in." Max's eyes darkened with a mixture of hurt and anger, a clear sign that his fallout with Clara was more than just a simple disagreement. "What do you need?" Our alliance was formed over shared grievances and the desire for retribution. Max revealed that Clara and Eliza were involved in more than just personal deceit. They were embezzling funds from their family business, a detail that added fuel to my fiery resolve. Together, we mapped out a strategy. Surveillance, digging into financial records, and turning their closest allies against them. Our plan was meticulous, leaving no stone unturned. The days that followed were a blur of activity. We gathered evidence, pieced together financial statements, and recorded illicit meetings. Each discovery was a piece of the puzzle, painting a picture of deception far beyond what I had imagined. Amidst our investigation, I encountered Alex, a former employee of their business, wrongfully terminated under dubious circumstances. "They ruined my life." Alex confessed after I approached him, his story another testament to Clara and Eliza's ruthlessness. "You can help us take them down," I offered, and Alex, driven by his own quest for justice, agreed. Our unlikely alliance grew stronger with each passing day, bound by the singular goal of bringing Clara and Eliza to justice. We were a mosaic of the wronged, each with our own reasons for seeking revenge, yet united in our determination. As I lay in bed each night, the gravity of our undertaking weighed heavily on me. But there was no turning back now. I had ignited a battle. One that I intended to win, not just for myself, but for all of us who had been deceived, used, and discarded by Clara and Eliza. The game was on, and I was playing for keeps. The tension was palpable as we prepared for the final act of our plan. The evidence was compiled, a damning dossier of Clara and Eliza's deceit and corruption. It was time to confront them, and the stage was set at the annual family gala, a perfect public setting to unveil their treachery. Clad in a sleek black dress, I felt a mixture of nerves and determination as I entered the grand hall, Max and Alex flanking me. The room buzzed with the chatter of unsuspecting guests, oblivious to the drama that was about to unfold. Clara and Eliza, resplendent in matching gowns, were holding court among a group of admirers when they spotted me. Their smiles faltered, a flicker of panic in their eyes before they masked it with practiced ease. I didn't expect an invitation to extend to me, I remarked as we approached, my voice cool and even. "Let's not ruin the evening with unpleasantness," Clara replied, her smile tight. "Oh, this evening is about to become very interesting," I countered, my gaze sweeping over them. "I have something that I believe everyone should see." Max stepped forward, connecting his tablet to the projector. The first slide of our presentation illuminated the wall behind us, a detailed account of their embezzlement scheme. Murmurs rippled through the crowd as each piece of evidence was displayed, incontrovertible proof of Clara and Eliza's guilt. Their faces paled, eyes darting around the room as if seeking an escape. "What is the meaning of this?" Clara finally burst out, attempting to regain some semblance of control. "The meaning?" I echoed, stepping closer. "The meaning is that your games are over. You've been exposed for who you really are." Eliza tried to interject, "This is absurd. These accusations are baseless." Alex then stepped forward, his presence a surprise to them. "I don't think so. I was fired for stumbling upon what you were trying to hide. But now, everyone knows." The room had fallen into a stunned silence, all eyes on us. Clara and Eliza looked around desperately, but there was no sympathy to be found. The evidence was too compelling, their actions too grievous. As security approached to escort them out, Clara turned to me, a mix of rage and humiliation in her eyes. "You'll pay for this." I met her gaze squarely. "I already have. And now, it's your turn." The gala erupted into chaos as they were led away, whispers and shockwaves echoing through the hall. I stood there, amidst the turmoil, feeling a strange sense of peace. The storm I had ignited had swept through, leaving behind a trail of vindication. Max and Alex joined me, a silent camaraderie among us. "What now?" Alex asked, his voice low. "Now," I said, turning to face them, "we rebuild. And we make sure nothing like this ever happens again." The night had begun with a confrontation, but it ended with a promise of a new beginning, free from deceit and betrayal. The game was over, but our stories were just beginning. The aftermath of the gala was like the calm after a storm. Clara and Eliza faced legal repercussions, their reputations in ruins. It felt like a victory, but the air was heavy with the cost of our war. I had imagined this moment would bring me peace, yet I was restless, haunted by the depth of their deception. In the days that followed, I sought solace in solitude, pondering my next steps. That's when I received an unexpected visitor. "May I come in?" A voice, familiar yet different, broke the silence of my reflection. It was Clara, or so I thought until she stepped into the light. No, not Clara. Eliza. The differences, once subtle, were now glaringly obvious. "I know you have no reason to listen to me," she began, her voice tinged with something that sounded like regret. "But there's something you need to know." I was ready to dismiss her, to shut the door on any more lies. But curiosity, and perhaps a desire for closure, stayed my hand. Eliza took a deep breath, her next words tumbling out in a rush. "It wasn't all a game for me. That night, I was trying to warn you about Clara. She was the mastermind behind everything. I got caught up in her schemes, too scared to stand against her." It sounded like another excuse, yet something in her demeanor suggested she was telling the truth, a truth I had refused to see. "Why should I believe you now?" My voice was skeptical, but I was listening. "Because I'm turning myself in," she said, pulling out a stack of documents from her bag. "Evidence. Not just of the embezzlement, but everything. I can't undo what I've done, but I can stop running from it." I was stunned. This was the last thing I expected from any of them, especially Eliza. Why? The question was simple, but it held all the weight of our shared history. Because it's the right thing to do. Because I'm tired of living a lie. And because I care about you more than I should. Her confession was a bombshell, one I hadn't seen coming. Despite everything, a part of me believed her. As Eliza turned to leave, handing me the evidence, I realized the true game was never about deception or revenge. It was about finding truth among lies, about redemption, and, unexpectedly, about discovering feelings where they were least expected. In the end, the intrigue wasn't about the scandal we uncovered, but about the human capacity for change and the unexpected forms that love can take. Clara's schemes had been the catalyst, but what unfolded was a story of forgiveness, of second chances, and the realization that sometimes the most unexpected finale is not about the downfall of your enemies, but about understanding and confronting your own prejudices. As Eliza disappeared into the night, I knew our story was far from over. But this ending, as unexpected as it was, marked the beginning of something new, something real.